Just pretend like I'm talking. Let's practice.
Okay.
So, no.
I'm sorry.
So how was your weekend?
Great.
Pretend that's me.
Do you want a mic on me?
Yeah, we're just practicing.
Oh, okay. There's no actual, footage being... Okay.
How was your weekend?
My weekend was great, camera. I mean, Laura, I'm allowed to glance down, right?
Yeah, you can glance at me, but then glance back.
Okay. Weekend was great. Thanks.
And when you're talking to the peeps, you talk to them, and you kind of talk back to me, and talk Okay. Address them as if we're, at a table with them. If I ask you a question, bring them into it.
If you ask me a question, what's...
Okay, you ask me.
Yeah.
Ask me how my weekend was.
Hey, how was your weekend?
It was great. As you guys know, I've been working with Cujo a ton. Say hi to that.
Welcome back, lady.
Thank you very much.
How are you doing? Uh-oh. So here's the deal. Let's just come clean. Laura's been doing this all her life, right?
Oh.
She's got a lot more experience than me. She's child actress, adult actress, right? She knows all about addressing the camera, making the camera her friend. Me, on the other hand, I go back to primal.
Basics.
I don't know, primal. Yeah, back to basics. So she starts talking to me, and I turn and blah, 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 blah. But what ends up happening is I don't look at you guys. So
I look at you.
Right. So she's guiding me to the promised land. I'm trying to tweak my approach. So let's see how I do in this episode. If I can pay more attention to you guys and still have a conversation with my lovely counterpart here, but not get caught in the...
You lose half his beautiful face.
Right, and then I've got how's the hat's okay. So guys, so you can judge me, you can check me out, and you give me a full update on how I did on this show. I'm gonna really try and knock it out. I'm looking at you guys. Laura, she's just a voice in my ear that I'll just glance over and respond to.
Glances are great. I mean, that's the thing. Is glance and then look back. It's just if we're at a
you know
at
what
a
it
dinner
is?
party.
I forget to look back.
Yeah, that's what it is.
The thing is, I'm talking to you guys, and you say something, and I'm like, oh well, oh crap, there's a camera.
But
Here
it's good. I like that. But I just think there's a dinner party quality to this type of work. So it's if I'm at a dinner party and I'm just so, yes, how are you? How are things?
I'm good. Look at the time.
Exactly. So, but at a dinner party, kind of oh yeah, okay, cool, yeah. Oh yeah, you too? Great.
Yeah.
So that's what we're trying to involve you guys in. So.
Yeah, I can just tell when I watch the episodes, it's really easy for you, and you'll glance at me and you go right back to the camera, and I'm struggling with it. So a couple quick little things as I talk to you guys. I just posted a little reminder today about our e-collar DVD, and that's the. Do we have an official title yet?
It's the Good Dog. Learn to Train the Good Dog Way e-collar.
Ooh, profound. I don't know who we hired to come up with that title. So we've got our big DVD coming out. It's been a really, really big project for us. And I think we promised it a little earlier, but things have taken a little bit. We've had a lot of projects on our hands, a lot of things, a lot of traveling, a lot of excuses, if you ask me, that we've managed to manufacture.
No, we really just want to get it right, I think is the key.
Yeah, but I mean, we have been really busy. So that's been going on. But of course, we have a really high standard. The last DVD did so well, and everybody really got a lot of value out of it that we want to hold ourselves to the same standard, and we don't want to release it until it's perfect. So. Yep. Really excited. Got a lot of you guys signing up for pre-orders, which is jammin', right? So that's a really nice thing. Makes us feel really good about all that support, and we were really just super appreciate it.
Yep.
Posted a good dog tip called the
9.
Best trained dog in here, whining away. That's Cujo, in case anybody was wondering. posted a really cool Good Dog tip today called Good Company, and Good Company was all based around the fact that you guys who are out there struggling with your dogs to put things together and train your dogs and get over hurdles and get over problem behavior and big challenges, that all of us have been here. And I think there's a lot of propagated what's the word? A lot of propagated like beliefs or presentations. I can't find the right word exactly, but that dog trainers have this like just innate magic that like you pop out of the womb and you're like, I know how to do this, this, and this, and I think that really doesn't serve people. I think it causes a lot of people to look at dog trainers in a different light and feel, okay, they're the ones that are able, that are the anointed ones that can do this, and then we're over here and we can just basically fumble along and try and like get a little bit. That's such bullshit. I mean, sorry to get crass, but the reality is that me, Laura, Britt, and Tony all struggled. I probably struggled more than any of them. And the fact that we've managed to create this business that does so well for like, not just like goofy, silly dogs, but like some of the hardest dogs around is a real testament to what you're able to do when you put that real commitment. There's no getting away from the fact that it's a ton of work, right? All of us have had to work our buns off to try and get our dog and our relationship and our own state back into the right space. But it's absolutely possible and it's absolutely available to all of you. And so the main thrust, the main point of that post was like, there ain't no magic here. All there is hard work and a lot of care and a lot of patience. And that's kind of the MO or kind of the recipe for just about anything that you're looking to do. So I just want to get rid of that whole thing of like, pull back the curtain of like magic dog trainers, and instead, people that have screwed up a lot, messed their dogs up, can actually become profoundly talented at doing good work with their dogs. I don't just mean us, I mean lots of people out there. So that I was really proud of, and the responses were really fantastic and really beautiful, and it touched a lot of people, and I think gave a lot of people a lot of hope. A lot of people feel really good about it. Nice quick glances, you like that. But I think we should just jam on into this, baby. I'm feeling really good. I feel like I've got a good rapport with the camera. I feel like I'm aware of you. I feel like I'm glancing, and I think I'm in my zone. Awesome. Yeah, I think I'm good.
Do you want to introduce the show?
I would love to.
Hit it.
Okay. Hey everybody, it's Sean from The Good Dog, looking at you. And this is the much more highly trained to look at you, Laura Morgan, the lovely Laura Morgan, watching you, and you watch her. And all this stuff that you can't see, which are like cookie remnants and dog training collars and a bunch of dogs laying around. We got dogs, and we got Milo, who's here for board and train, hanging out. All this good stuff is the Good Dogs Q&A Saturday, episode number 46. Oh man, that's a hard one, right? Because we got to do
number 6.
But you know what? You don't want.
You just.
Oh, I got to do 6. Some would say I might be challenged in certain numerical kind of fashions. So this is becoming a little bit of a thing, right? So, like, we've been doing this in 46 episodes, and every time we have to hold hands up, like
it's bizarre.
It's a challenge. But like I said, there's always trade-offs, right?
You're
glancing
smart
back, right? Well, I'm good at certain things, and there's certain things that, like math. I was like, I'll give you a quick lowdown skinny, and then we'll jump into the show. I was one of the last. I think it changed the year I graduated high school, and that was that I managed to. I don't know if I should be proud of this or not, but I managed to get out of high school with when the only requirement was basic math.
Oh.
No algebra, no like what's a basic algebra? What was the very first?
Yeah.
Because was there pre-algebra, right? And I heard the word like pre-algebra, and I probably peed my pants, and they probably had to excuse me from school. I struggled so much with math stuff, and that I managed to get out with basic math was maybe the only reason I graduated high school, because we were still like wrestling with like fractions and subtraction and all that stuff. So anyways, that's not my strong suit. My strong suit is yet to be determined. But anyways, so let's jump into the show. Just a little bit of personal thing. I think it's important for them to know.
I think it's important for them to know too.
Yeah.
Though holding up your hands for numbers isn't necessarily advanced math.
It's not, but that just goes to show. It just goes to show. Well,
all you have to do is hold up one number.
I know, but the problem is like, you want to know the process?
Yeah.
The process
you may
is
be overthinking it.
no. The process is 46, right?
I
And
do
then
the 4, you do the 6.
right, but I was thinking like we only can do one hand at a time,
That's
and
what's
I
so
was
weird.
like 4.
You're overthinking it.
It's not overthinking. It's both what makes my brain work really
I
nice
think you're
for
just
certain
too
things.
smart for your own good.
I like that. I'm not so sure that's the case. I'd say quirky is more of what it is.
Andrew, are you excited for pre-kindergarten?
Yeah,
Why?
I don't know.
Are you gonna miss your mom?
No.
No? Oh, don't cry,
It's
Guys,
pretty
there's
great.
a really funny YouTube video. I feel bad laughing, but it's so cute. This kid's
But
gonna
it's
look
it's
back
like
and
so,
love
it's
it.
total humanity,
Yeah, it's-
right? That's what's great about it.
It's, if you
Because we put on a brave face, we
Yeah.
do our best in front, and then all of a sudden your emotions betray you when you least want them to, and then you're like, oh God, I'm crying on camera.
Oh, it's so funny. It's just Google. I'm sure it's circulating right now, but it's TV reporter makes kid cry when she asks him about first day of school. It's just so funny.
So,
All right.
you ready to jump in with Cindy?
Question
Question number
number
1.
1. This is from Cindy Wilmot. Cindy says,
Yes.
I am currently working with a 7-year-old shih tzu mini poodle. He was adopted in May by an older lady who got him for a Pets for Senior program. Don't know the dog's history. She called me because, in her words, her dog has become an ankle biter. As soon as you walk up to her door and knock, the dog goes ballistic, and you're entering, the dog continues to bark, and 9 times out of 10 will attack your shoes, pant legs, and shake and growl and go crazy.
Excellent
I've tried
dog.
to have her leash him up, distract with treats, squirt bottle, continuing into his space, verbal correction, etc. He's bitten several people, including her. He resource guards and won't move off her bed. That's how she got bit. He's a little terror. No one can pet him but her, and he won't take treats from a hand. The treat must be dropped on the floor. I advised her to pick up all toys and leave no food down. He's no longer allowed on furniture. I'd hope to establish that she leads the pack so he won't have to feel hyper aroused. I know that once a dog is resorted to biting, it's hard to get rid of the habit. I just want to help this sweet lady. She's on a fixed income and already spending money she doesn't have on the issue.
Okay, so the cheapest fix, you guys might not like it, it might be inappropriate, but a good solid pair of Doc Martens would totally eradicate the problem, right? She could storm through that house and be like, yeah, by the way, buddy, we're going to need a tooth replacement for you.
I get it.
Yeah, Doc Martens, you know, they're like high, thick boots.
I thought you were meaning like a little boot to the butt.
Oh, no, I am not violent like that. So, but it tells you where tells you where her
why I was like,
behavior
oh my-
modification mind is at. No, mine was much more of a
I'm
benign.
just mad. I'm picturing this old woman getting attacked by her little dog, and how much if that chick put on Doc Martens and gave him a little boot to the ass when he goes to bite her.
Now you know what's
how
going to
that would-
happen, right?
I'm gonna get in trouble.
Right, so now you're gonna get in trouble. You're gonna have to like shoot another whole like montage of you and Brittany like with like lovingly like booting dogs out the door because
I don't boot dogs. It's just it was a funny. I just don't
PETA's
like the
coming
idea
after us.
of
I hope they get your address, not mine.
PETA. Make it happen.
Okay, so the Doc Martens, like that's a good preemptive move, right? I mean, if you want to like, I mean,
Just
I
make
guess.
it so he can't bite the shoes.
Well, I mean, I guess they have double application, right? So you can definitely be protected, and then you could also say, "Hey, I'm not really into the biting thing,"
no,
and like,
I'm
no,
not.
okay,
I'm just.
all right. So we're gonna let you pass on that. All right. So as for the real training stuff, okay. So 0 furniture, 0 affection. All food comes from the hand, right? This dog should not be on anybody's bed, anybody's couch, anybody's, I was going to say lounge, anybody's lap, anything like that. That's all going to just, I mean, that's how you propagate, that's how you continue this cycle of craziness and silliness. And I'm sure the woman's intent is not to damage the dog or make the dog more unstable, but if she's allowing any access to any privilege with a dog that's in, I'm going to say it, and you guys can bleep it out, but a state of assholery, then you
guys can bleep it.
yeah, you get
we've
the
got a
team,
whole
get the team to bleep that out. The whole thing is with the dog that's engaging in that kind of behavior, giving any kind of soft stuff, any kind of privilege is a mixed message that says, I agree with what you're doing, and I'm going to continue to reinforce this message that you can be in charge and you can go ahead and nail me and lay some corrections on me. So zero furniture, zero affection, all food comes from the hand, right? He doesn't want to take it from the hand, he only wants it on the food, on the ground. Tough toodles, you little Schweinhund. So no way. Out of my hand, you don't want to eat, you don't eat that day. Next day, out of my hand, you don't want to eat, you don't eat that day.
Yeah.
There'll come a day where he'll go, I'm sorry, white flag, and then it'll be a different story.
Yeah.
So that's part of it. If she really wants to do some work, I know it sounds like you're trying to help her out and keep finances in a reasonable place. Leash and small prong, small Herm Springer, get it on the dog inside the house, have the dog be wearing the leash and prong and dragging it around inside the house. This is how you start to create foundational shifts with a dog like this, right? I think she said like yelling and stuff like that's not working, or squirt bottle and blah, blah, blah. Of course, that stuff's really not going to work for a dog who's intense, right? Get a leash, get a well-fitted small prong collar, and let the dog drag that around anytime the owner's supervising. Teach the dog place, teach the dog thresholds, teach the dog how to walk on prong collar, and get the dog really, really juicy with that. Get the dog into a much more respectful, listening, deferential state. And once you've got that, which like we've got all these free videos, so you can just go to www.thegooddog.net, go to free do-it-yourself videos, and you can show her all that stuff. Once the dog is conditioned and understands all that stuff and like knows like place and knows how the prong collar works, then it's like enough of the monkey business time, right? Then it's time to start sharing corrections for any kind of tomfoolery. That dog growls from place, no, walk over calmly, pop. That dog goes to run to the door and jump on anybody and growl, nope, pop. Side correction, make those corrections count. The only thing that's going to stop this dog from being a jackass like this is if there's consequences for jackassery, right? Otherwise, why stop it? I'm sure it feels good. I'm sure it's a relief. Even if the dog's nervous, it still feels good. It still gives that release stuff. So that's where I would head with this. Do our free videos, foundation work, all the stuff I just said. Yeah, and then just correct the dog for any nasty stuff. And you'll have to coach her through it. This should cost her maybe like, with free videos and a leash and a prong, man, you can probably get away like with the leash and prong for $35-40, right? Pretty cheap. It's gonna be a little time intensive, and she'll probably need help from you to make sure that she's doing it right, because she might correct the dog and be really soft, and the dog might be like, don't you tell me what to do, and then you've got to like make sure someone's there to advocate and show that lady how to actually lay down the law. So I can guarantee you this Starbucks that I'm very much enamored with right now, I can guarantee you that if that dog strolled in this door within 2 days, that stuff would be gone, right? And it would be gone not because we would be brutal with the dog, it'd be gone because like, here's the rules, here's the structure, here are the tools, don't mess around. If you do, here's accountability time and consequences, and the dog goes, that's not really worth it, let me make better choices. Let's keep dog training simple, right?
Yeah.
Tell the dog fairly what you expect from it, and then also tell the dog fairly what's not allowed. So that is what I recommend for you, Cindy. It'll be a bit of work, and if the woman's down to actually, like you said, take over the pack and like kind of take on the challenge, then she can definitely do it. She's got to make the right mindset shift. But using tools that help her could really help make that shift happen to where it's more believable to the dog. Once a dog starts getting consequences that are valuable, a lot of stuff can change pretty quick. So, do you have anything to add to that?
I do. And I feel all that, of course, everything.
You're not going to undermine everything I just said.
No, it has nothing to do with that. It just bothers me that there's an older woman who got a pet from a Pets for Seniors program.
Is that where it's from?
Yeah, that's
custom fitting
like
great dogs for seniors.
It's just like, just because the dog's small, it's Pet for Seniors. No, it bothers me that, I don't know, maybe this woman is like, I'm doing this, I can't wait to take on the challenge, it's going to be great for me and my dog.
I think she said like it's the third home or something. She's really like trying to make something happen for the dog.
So that's one thing, but Cindy, I guess you're a trainer. she's currently working with.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just feel like it's also our trainers as trainers, it's our responsibility to also let our clients like off the hook in a way. Like if it's a bad fit for her home and she's maybe she got the dog to be able to give it some affection, you know, like some people get dogs for those things, didn't get it to be like a project dog. Oh, I'm going to work on my boundary setting and maybe she's like, I just want a freaking dog to like have a companion and do my thing. Doesn't have to be perfect. I don't need to cuddle it all day, but I do want to have a dog that's a companion for me and that I don't have to lay down the law with. You know, it just bothers me that they put that dog into a home, you know. And so if all these things, if she's like, wow, this is a lot, or, you know, I don't think there's anything wrong with going back to that rescue or going back to that organization and being like, look, this is not,
It's a bad
it's not
fit.
cool. It's a bad fit. And I really want a dog that is just more akin to my lifestyle.
I don't dig Doc Martens. I have footwear that I like.
You know what I mean? I'm not saying like rehome the dog. I'm just saying that definitely if I wanted a small dog and I got this little dog in and I wasn't a trainer, I might be like, you know what? I'm gonna take this on as a pet project. I'm gonna really make this dog, you know, get it to be really great.
Yeah.
But this older woman may be like, dude, I've raised 5 kids. I don't want to do this again. Like,
Like I've done enough.
I want to play bingo, whatever she wants to do. Like I want to. I don't know.
You're stereotyping old people. Nope. Down.
I'm just saying, like, there
Down.
may be things that she just, you know. Anyway, we're done with that.
Down.
All right. Thanks, Cindy. Question number 2. This is from Artem.
Artem's back in the hood.
Yes. Artem says, hello, Sean and Laura. It's been a while. How are you guys?
We're good.
I have
Where you been?
Exactly.
More importantly, I think Artem's been like trolling other sites and was like, yeah, you know, I'm moving
true,
on.
Artem? You're moving on?
Yeah, I got other stuff. I got other, you know,
Good to know.
I'm on Dogs Chat and I'll just hang out there.
Got it.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, we'll keep this brief for you.
Okay. I watched an episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm the other night. Just
Oh, yeah?
like a capper.
Yeah.
Did you used to watch that?
I loved Curb Your Enthusiasm.
I've been doing all the things that he does where he's like, okay.
Was he sniff around?
No,
with it?
he's kind of like feeling you out.
Oh, yeah? A little
right.
social pressure?
Yeah, there's some social pressure.
All right, Artem.
Okay, Artem.
We still love you.
So I have an interesting and challenging dog for rehab. It's a
Not
3-year-old
kidding.
husky like a mix, very feral. For my opinion, feral breeds are more challenging than others, more primal.
Yes.
Okay. So main problems are he's full of unreleased physical energy. He spends almost 99% of the time in his kennel at all times. No walks at all. He's nervous and tense. No idea what rules and respect mean. He doesn't trust me. Growls at me when it's in the crate, even after hand feeding. He's wild on leash. I'm only able to walk him constantly only after a 30-minute bike ride. Pressure and release doesn't work well because he's responding to the pressure. He just runs around me in a circle. If I put spatial pressure on him, he freezes, lowers his head, or tries to escape. He chases his tail, which he's chewed off.
So wild, yeah.
He's just pent up. He's growling like he wants to kill his tail. I corrected that high on e-collar, and he didn't do it for 7 days, but on day 8 with me, he still had some of the pre-attack look at his tail sometimes. He redirected on his tail when he's tense and frustrated. To skip over some of this a lot.
It's so long.
Day 3, I tried to touch his head, which I'd done before, and he nervously attacked me, ripped my finger real hard.
Oof.
He's not muzzle conditioned. I'm working on the muzzle now. I'm doing hand feeding, bike rides. He's okay around dogs. I used slip lead on him, but the first 2 days he was spinning around. So I'm using martingale because you can't use prong, right?
I'm not sure about that. I think
will
you
not
can.
use e-collar on
That's
him
the
for
part-
some reasons. It was only used to stop teeth.
That's a really weird. There's a really weird part in this where you say, "I will not use e-collar." And read the line.
He says, I will not use e-collar on him for some reasons. It was only used to stop him from tail chasing.
Right, like, and the part for some reasons, I don't know if those reasons are yours or someone else's.
I'm sure there's someone else's.
Or if you feel like, well, I mean, but he's allowed to use it to stop the tail chasing, so it's just peculiar.
Yeah.
So, and which means he's probably not going to like my answer. So, anyways, Artem, okay, so I would continue to hand feed this dog for all of his food. Everything comes out of your hand, muzzle, right? And I know you're doing that already. Just there's no way this dog eats unless it's out of your hand with a polite attitude. And especially you got to get that muzzle safely on and off. So like I've even done some stuff with like muzzles where, I don't know if you guys have in Ukraine, like sliced cheese. It's called American cheese, so they might call it something else over there. But like individually sliced cheese, like processed cheese stuff. And I'll put that inside of like a Baskerville muzzle, and then I'll like break it into like small pieces, and I'll stick it to my hand, right? And then I'll offer it to the dog, and the dog can smell the cheese, and he gets really interested, and he wants to get it, but he can't really get it off my hand. He licks, which gives me a lot of time with dogs that are a little more dicey. While he's busy doing that, then I'm stringing the muzzle around and getting him all muzzled up. So anyway, so food for everything, no free meals for this guy. Here's the part that it's going to be hard, because I'm not sure what your rationale is for no e-collar stuff, but I would absolutely be doing e-collar work for recall, like follow me around exercises, right? Like not just like straight recall to like sit, but like follow me with recall, like all around your place, getting him to where he's like got to engage and do that stuff with you. Obviously, like play, sit down, if you can do that stuff with recall as well, that's fabulous. E-collar heel should be like, man, when you've got a dog that's got real crazy stuff going on the walks, like e-collar heel is like the softest, easiest, tends to be the most de-escalating tool for that stuff. Yeah. Now, if you've got a reason, if there's a rationale why I can't use this, Sean, there's whatever, then that's a different story. And for which I don't know if I have a great answer for you, because I'm not working with the dog specifically, and I'd have to try a lot of different tools and see what kind of responses I get. But if there isn't something blocking you, and it's just you thought, well, because I'm using it to correct for his tail, that maybe I can't use it for the other stuff, then let me kind of get you into a different line, which would be do full e-collar training with this dog. Take your time, be patient, get that dog to heel so nicely on the walk with low-level e-collar stuff. Get him recalling with you really consistently. I think that stuff, whenever I hear about a dog that's like kind of frantic, freaked out, doesn't want anything to do with me, or is like possibly bitey, all I want to do is do a ton of recall. And the reason is because psychologically it really has a big shift in the dog's mind, where the dog's like, I don't like you, I don't want to be near you, you bother me, you freak me out, you worry me, whatever. And all of a sudden you teach recall, and the dog's like, here I am, holy crap, why am I walking towards this guy that I'm not comfortable with? But he's doing it on his own, right? Yes, there's pressure from the e-collar, but the dog's perception is, here I am walking of my own volition over towards Artem when I'm scared of him. That starts to really shift things pretty profoundly for the dog, and can really build a bridge to a relationship and put you in a really good space with that dog pretty quickly, if you can do that stuff. So, that's a couple things. And then the one other thing I would say is beware of possible limitations, right? If this is truly a feral dog, you have to really be aware of possible limitations, that he may never or she may never be a dog that's completely comfortable with regular domestic life, regular domestic training, like tools and all that. Yeah. Jeff Gelman's got a really great dog named Autumn. Autumn's been with him, what, 3, 4, maybe 5 years now? And Autumn is a totally feral dog. I don't know where he picked her up at a shelter or something like that. She's a totally feral dog. And the only thing Jeff really has done with her is I think he can corner her and then get an e-collar on her, because she's still, even though she lives with him and lives with his pack, she's still nervous and she's still worried, and she's never comfortable about coming in and like seeking interaction. So he puts the e-collar on her, or the bark collar, in the case when we're staying there and she barks in the middle of the night, and then has good recall, good solid recall, and she goes a lot of places with him and his pack, but she's not down to be doing any kind of like real dog interaction with human stuff. So just be aware of the possible limitations. Obviously, do the best work you can, see how far you can get, see what you can create, challenge yourself, challenge the dog, but also be very mindful to be fair to both you and the dog, that like there might be some real ceiling here where we can't get past that. Yeah. So, anything to add to that little?
No.
No?
That's good.
Okay. No Doc Martens or anything? All right, Artem, let us know how it goes. You seem to get like the challenging cases, buddy.
Okay, question number 3. This
Michelle.
is from Michelle. Michelle says, "Hey guys, I love your Q&A sessions. I have a 2.5-year-old pitty mix who I've owned since he was 8 weeks. He's a pretty serious resource guarder with other dogs, not with humans. He'll guard his bed, toys, food, space, even me. He's worse in the home than outside. Anything he thinks of value, he guards. I use obedience to keep him in check. I believe his guarding issue is genetic, and I've heard if it's genetic, then it most likely cannot be corrected. My question is, do you think resource guarding can be corrected? I hike with a group of people, we're all off leash, and I worry about if my dog picks up a stick, then another one's going to want it, and it's going to become an issue." He is e-collar trained and has intermediate obedience.
Awesome. Cujo's behaving. He's got intermediate obedience today. Anyways, all right, Michelle. So here's the nitty gritty that I've got for you. I've never heard of resource guarding being genetic. I've never heard it.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been on a lot of dog trainer forums. I've exchanged information with a lot of dog trainers. I've never heard it being genetic. I mean, now you can have a dog that's wired poorly, that does really weird stuff and might have OCD kind of things and attack kind of like unpredictably, things like that. But as far as resource guarding, I mean, there's dogs that are bred to be more territorial, more guardy with their humans, but like, you're talking about resource guarding from other dogs. Like, I'm not so sure that I'm buying. I don't know where you heard that, but it doesn't resonate with me, and I don't think it's actually the case. So here it comes to 9. Here it comes down to like, what do you want to do? Do you want, like, if you want to work with a pro and have somebody help you out and kind of walk you through these steps, then anybody who's experienced with like dealing with dog aggression stuff should have a pretty good handle on how to work through this stuff. I'm going to throttle him next time he whistles. And so that would be my top choice, would be that you work with somebody that's really experienced with this stuff. Now, if you're determined to do it on your own, then I would muzzle condition your dog, right? Just Google or in YouTube search Josh Moran's muzzle conditioning video and get that dog muzzle conditioned. Don't just throw a freaking muzzle on the dog and toss him out with dogs. That's bad news bears. It's going to be problematic. Get him muzzle conditioned first, right? Then once you get him muzzle conditioned, you can start, he's already e-collar trained, right? Right? So once he's muzzle conditioned, now we've got a certain level of safety. Now, like if he was here working with us, because we deal with this all the time, if he was here working with us, we would bring out dogs that provoke that, you know, or trigger that response, which would be small dogs, anxious dogs, whatever dogs that are going to, did she say it was for small dogs? Or she just said dogs that have, just any resource stuff,
dogs,
right?
yeah.
So it's not even small dogs, so I'm getting it confused with another question. So basically what we do is get him muzzle conditioned, he's already on e-collar, and then we'd set up the situation with other dogs where resources could be up for grabs, and then we would really significantly correct your dog for any jackassery, any like being possessive, any like hopefully you catch it at the split second of like posturing or anything like that. And basically it's a consequence where you teach your dog what's appropriate and what's not appropriate. Your dog sounds like, if I can be really bold, and I've done more cursing in this episode than ever, but it sounds like your dog's being an a-hole, right? It just sounds like he's like, I want that and I want that, and if you get in my way, I'm going to clean your clock. I mean, that's where that stuff typically comes from. So I'd be really cautious about like how much affection, how much access the dog has to you, how much freedom the dog has, all sorts of things like that that could be contributing to the mindset of me, I can have what I want. You know, I know you've already got training on board, but even with training, you could be giving him way too much affection, way too much freedom, way too much personal access, couch, furniture, things like that, which could cause him to start feeling more entitled, more empowered, to start setting boundaries for dogs. Almost across the board, when we see dogs that are doing that stuff, tends to come from more bullying stuff and nasty. Of course, you can get really insecure dogs that will do this stuff as well, but it sounds like you've got much more of like pushy, bratty kind of a-hole behavior going on. So, that said, yeah, I already covered the affection and freedom. Nice, I'm moving along nice. So if you want to tackle it yourself, then you've got to muzzle condition the dog. Then you've got to bring the dog around other safe dogs that you know won't retaliate if your dog makes, and this is the magic, right? This is why we can do this stuff regularly. We have a safe pack that will not retaliate. I could bring your dog in here, put him on a muzzle, put him on a long line, have him be around, bring out resources, and the moment your dog decides to be nasty with one of my dogs, I can correct him really significantly, which when I'm saying significantly, I typically mean e-collar all the way up, press and hold for a few seconds so your dog goes, wow, that choice I'm making is one of the most uncomfortable choices that I've ever made. And the cool thing with the balanced pack is that they're not going to attack, so I only have to worry about one dog. So that's what you're kind of up against if you want to try and create and navigate and make this stuff happen on your own. If not, then hire a pro that's familiar with these kind of methods and can help you, and that would be a balanced trainer, as you would obviously know, to be able to help you move through this stuff and tackle it. Any suggestions?
No, just be careful.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's why I'm suggesting muzzle stuff, and I mean, that's why I suggested working with the pro, right? I know some people are really determined to do this on their own, so it puts me in a bit of a tough spot, right?
I'm not saying you didn't say that. I'm saying just to put the
just to be
exclamation
careful,
point on
right?
that. Yeah, that it's like these guys, you know, they may not be guarding, they may guard you, but they may, if you start to challenge them, if you haven't challenged them, then they can get a little like, how dare you? So just, you know, I came from I had a really, really strong resource guarder and polar bear when I first met Sean, so I'm pretty well versed in that. But
he was resource guarding with you, and this dog is resource guarding primarily with dogs.
I'm just saying that you can see it start, if there's not been challenged before and you start to challenge stuff.
Yeah, you can see fallout.
You can see stuff. So just be super careful, like Sean said.
Be super careful. Follow everything that I just said. I mean, if the dog's muzzled and he's around safe dogs, we know that we've got a certain level of safety there. But just be aware that if you do correct a dog at a high level and he starts to make a vocalization, dogs that you thought were stable may not be stable, and they may go after the other dog. That's why it's dicey business, and that's why people come to us typically for that kind of stuff, so we can help them keep the dog safe. Even when we do this work, we don't have dog fights. Dogs don't get injured. We just make progress because we know how to keep them safe. So that is my answer for you, and keep us posted on how it goes.
Cool.
All right?
Thanks. Question number 4.
More resource guarding.
Yeah,
What's gone crazy in the canine world?
Heather says, I'm in on the resource guarding as well. But I think the root is actually in figuring out how to make my 4-month-old Connie Corso see my daughter is higher than him on the totem pole.
Connie Francis Corso.
We have an occasional moment with him and my other dog over high-value items. Never with myself and my fiance, but I still... I don't know what she means by this. I still miss you if my daughter tries to take something from him or correct him.
Yeah, I think I still mess up, or still I think they still have a problem.
Okay,
I think is what
she still has issues.
She misses us, but
if the daughter tries to take something from him or correct him.
Yeah.
So I assume there's been no biting or anything.
No, but like some more a-holery, right, going on. A lot of this is like the episode A-hole. Operation A-hole. Okay, so I've got resource guarding, disrespecting daughter, right? So I'd e-collar train the Corso, the Connie Corso, or the Kanye Corso. I'd e-collar train them, and I don't know if that sounds like too much work for you, but that's what I do. You've got a young dog who's already pushing buttons and being, they've already got some friction, right? She said friction with the other dog, right? In specific situations.
Yeah.
Friction with the other dog, and then disrespecting the daughter. Those are all things at a young age we want to get rid of.
Knock that out.
Yeah. So I would be doing like, go to our free videos, and I would be doing recall, place, sit down, all the foundation work, because the foundation work really gets the dog's mind into a great spot, right? Like beyond just correcting them, doing that work and being demanding of a dog, of like, if you watch our videos and watch the way our like board and trains are constructed and emulate that, you can really change that dog's mindset. But the e-collar is going to be like a game changer for that. You talk about like balancing power out. The cool thing about it is that you can correct for any crappiness or nasty behavior going on towards the other dog really easily. But the cool thing is he's disrespecting your daughter. So what you can do is you can start having once he's e-collar trained, you can start having your daughter work with them, right? But you run the remote, and the dog doesn't know who's running the remote. The dog just knows, well, I'm getting commands by this, I don't know how old your daughter is, 4 or 5, 6 years old, whatever, or maybe older, but he's like, she's a puppy too. She's not going to tell me what to do. All of a sudden, she says, come, and he doesn't move, and then you repeat the command and tap the button. He goes, whoa, this girl over here's got the same power that mom's got. I have to start thinking of her in a different fashion and respecting her in a different fashion. So that to me, like whenever I hear about disrespecting like kids, all I want to do is get an e-collar on and have the owners work with the dog, but have the kid be the one that's set up, as long as it's safe, to be doing the actual commands at, like a couple times a day or once a day or whatever it is, because it's a game changer for the dog. Once a dog sees that somebody's got that kind of control, man, it changes a lot of stuff. But otherwise, if you just did like leash and prong and stuff like that, the reason why you have problems is because the perspective or perception changes, right? If your dog's disrespectful to your daughter, you've got to walk over with a leash and prong and give the correction, which creates a lot of clarity about, oh, it's mom who issues consequences, daughter doesn't have that power. E-collar kind of changes all that and really levels the playing field. So let me just see if there's anything else I have for you. Oh yeah, get rid of the high value items. Man, are you guys crazy out there? You've got a couple dogs and they're already getting scrappy with each other. That is bad news bears. So no disrespect intended, but the high value treats, they call them high value for a reason. They're high value and they make dogs, get into a primal, I want to kick your butt mode for this thing. So, and then the other thing that happens is even when dogs don't fight consistently for them, it tends to create a lot of grudge, a lot of tension, a lot of stuff that can build over time. And then once your Cane Corso is like a year and a half, 2 years old, he's like, yeah, I'm done with you over there who's been shooting me evil eyes for the last 6 months, a year, and now I'm going to go clean your clock, right? We've seen that a lot with dogs that build up tension over time, and you don't want to create possessive competition over resources when it's so easy not to do it. If you're determined to share that stuff,
just remove them.
Put a dog in one room in a crate and let him have it. Put the other dog in another room, but don't let them be around each other and don't let them build tension. Okay? Hopefully that makes sense. I also talked about, like with the Cane Corso, Jeff Gelman, I think, has got a video on the out command. So I'd go to his YouTube channel. I'd love for you to train, like I said, sit down, place, recall, but also out. And that would be, out means spit out whatever you've got in your mouth and back up. And what that does is it creates a pretty profound psychological shift for dogs as well, when they learn that humans can really start to control things that are of high value, and you can really start to get a dog out of that mode of like challenge, like somebody comes close to this, I can actually try and like beat somebody down for this, whether it's dog or person. But once you train them with the e-collar and you're like across the room, out, and the dog's like, pooh, I got to spit it out, changes everything. So scope that video out on Jeff's page, and hopefully it can kind of help you put all the pieces together.
Cool.
Be safe. Be safe. Be safe with that little girl. All right?
Thanks. Question number 5 from Robert Gutierrez. Robert says, my chi-huini is about a 2-year-old male. He was destined for the pound, but I took him. Third household. He constantly bites our other rescue and us too. Scolding doesn't help.
Lovely dog.
Rattling keys slow him. How can I stop him?
Robert. Okay. So you picked yourself up a pretty challenging dog. It sounds like you knew that you were having a challenging dog that you were dealing with. Selfie time. It sounds like you had a pretty...
It's going to be B-roll.
Okay, cool. It sounds like you knew you were kind of picking up a challenging dog. Maybe you thought you could kind of get him into line, and we got more dogs dreaming. Now it's Junior. Let's just hope it doesn't make Milo want to bite him. Keep an eye on him. Hey. Sorry, guys. Real life strolls in, and you gotta like manage everything. Okay, so Robert, sounds like you kind of knew you had a challenging dog. Maybe you hope that you kind of like would just set up some structure and rules and like lay down the law and things would get better. But apparently, it's a little bit more intense than that. What I'd really like you to do: e-collar train this dog. Please, 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 right? Get yourself an Educator Mini. You can get them off of Amazon. They're not expensive, 180 bucks maybe. They're really small, so they're great for small, tiny dogs like that. They work really well. Teach your dog at least like recall and place. Just two little behaviors. You don't have to dive deep into this. Dog doesn't have to be jumping through hoops of fire, but teach your dog recall. We've got free videos, right? We've got e-collar, we've got place, we've got
down, sit.
Yeah, we got a whole bunch of stuff going on. So you can jump into all that stuff. But what I want is basically the means to an end is get recall and place so you can create some structure in your home, right? Which is like going to make this dog feel very different in his head. If you went through all of our program that we have there and really kind of emulated our board and train and really did a ton of like duration work and a lot of structure, a lot of leadership, and went firm and hard with this dog initially, you'd see some pretty massive changes. Now, the other part of this is that once the dog is conditioned to the e-collar, you can start using the e-collar to correct for any kind of monkey business, right? And this is where things get really interesting. So say he's trying to, the chi-huini is trying to bite or bully one of the other dogs in the house, or bite, bully, brat, not let somebody on the couch or whatever it is. It's so easy with the e-collar to give a nice firm correction without having to get yourself anywhere involved with the dog that might get somebody bitten. And when dogs, once again, like I said earlier in the show, when dogs realize that human beings have that power to correct at a distance, it creates a massive shift psychologically for dogs. Dogs that have been able to get away with biting and setting boundaries for humans and correcting them, once they realize that's not possible and that the human can actually issue consequences that are valuable to them and stay cool and calm and create structure and rules, man, do you see dogs change. So that's my recommendation. I go to the website, www.thegooddog.net, go to our free do-it-yourself videos. You can also order our DVD, which is more prong collar centric, but I would like you to mainly work on e-collar stuff right now, because that's what's going to give you guys the magic to correct this dog and get that biting stuff done, right? So, quick recap: sit down, place, recall, watch the videos, spend a week or so like training that stuff, getting the dog into a good zone, and then working on place. Watch our videos. I mean, it's so like, we share all the stuff. It's so easy if you just spend some time. But then once the dog's being a jackass, pop, all you do is tap the button and correct at a level the dog goes, bark. Ooh, I guess I shouldn't bite anybody anymore. Yes, exactly. No more biting, no more bullying, no more monkey business. Let's get it done. I guarantee you could keep this dog in your house and have the dog be a well-behaved little citizen if you do all this work. It's a ton of work. I get it. Not everybody's down for it, but there is an answer if you want it. If you're truly determined to get this dog turned around and stop getting him perforating everybody in the household. Thanks, Robert. And I hope you notice I've been looking way more
You've
over
been
there,
doing awesome.
right? I'm
Yeah.
pulling my weight.
But
this
also,
time.
I wasn't really here for this last question, so we'll see.
But all the questions,
You've been
I've been
doing
doing this and then
Nice.
glancing right back. It took me, what, 46 episodes? But I'm there. I'm getting there.
No, you do great.
All right. Thanks.
Okay, so this question is from Corey. I had to look over the question. It's a really long question. You guys
Yeah.
can read all of it. You can go on the page. But basically, Corey is
Here's
in a
my
situation.
synopsis.
I wrote that same thing.
Did you really?
Goldendoodle is a mess. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So Corey has, except you wrote something a
I
little
wrote
bit more crass.
Right.
So Corey has a 1.5-year-old male goldendoodle.
Goldendoodle. He's from Norway.
He's from Norway. It's a 1.5-year goldendoodle,
Yeah.
and basically his first statement is, what does he not do?
He's terrorizing the entire house.
Yeah, he's a nightmare. They started him at puppy training, and the trainer said he's untrainable, basically, as a puppy.
Bring that dog over here.
He, there's tons here, but basically, let me see if I can run down it. So if he goes to go out on a walk or potty, he'll immediately jump on them and start biting their arms and leash. He'll jump on them during the walk, get tangled and bite them when they try to untangle him from the leash. They've tried spanking him a little bit on the butt or nose, just like a little,
kind of like your video.
Exactly, but it doesn't help him learn.
You've inspired so many people.
And she's saying that she's not the one. She's
Yeah.
not striking him.
I think
or
it's
anything,
mouthing
but
and
it's just like, she's
biting.
trying to stop him.
And
then,
she's got a baby, right?
Yeah, let me just finish.
Oh,
so
sorry.
we recently had a baby after he was born. Then he started licking her, and the mom was not cool with that. Corey's not cool with that.
No.
And then it's gotten worse. He'll grab stuff from the bedroom and he'll parade it out in front of them. And they try to get the item from his mouth, and he'll bite them. They've had 3 vet runs in the middle of the night for the stuff that he eats, including their kitchen floor. He'll growl, snarl, snap at anything if he takes stuff and they try to take it away from him. She was changing her baby on the floor. This is the big one, on the bathroom floor, and there was a towel on the floor. And when she stood up to get the baby out and was going to lay her on the towel, he growled, because I think he was guarding the towel, and snapped at me with the baby and bit her finger, which was holding the baby's head. She had to get a long pole and almost fight him to remove him from the bathroom. It's getting worse. Husband seems to be siding with the dog and making excuses why it's not
Way
it's bad.
to go.
I'm close to giving him away or letting him go. I think my safety as well as my child's safety before a damn dog. I feel he really needs intense training or medication. I don't know what to do. Any more help?
Good for you. I side with you heavily.
Yeah.
I don't know where your husband's coming from on this. I mean, this is like, it's a young dog, and this is
perfect crap age.
if you want to hear like what I really wrote, I mean, your goldendoodle's being an asshole, right? There's just like no parsing words on this.
Yeah.
This dog is like realized what he can get away with and is just taking advantage of the whole house, setting boundaries left and right. This is mine. And in the same way that, we've talked about other dogs guarding stuff from other dogs, he's doing the same thing to you guys. He's just treating you guys like dogs. It's really, really bad stuff. So please promise me, no matter what you do, no more licking the baby. Do not let that dog close distance.
I think she's done.
Yeah, I mean, if that dog is like coming towards you and not giving you respectful space when you ask for it, kick that dog. Yeah. Right? Your baby is your number one priority. Goldendoodle being a jackass, you give us space or there's going to be a consequence, right? So just let's lay that out. This is serious business, right? So my first little note is that this is serious stuff, which I just said, and someone could get hurt. Obviously, right? This is like, how old's the dog?
A year and a half.
Year and a half. And year and a half is when things start to really like start to amp up and ramp up. 2.5 years, I would hate to see what this dog looks like without anybody intervening to try and create some changes. So the good news is that this is typically a really easy fix, right? And that might sound like counter to everything I just said. It's problematic because it's in a home where there's conflicted reviews or opinions about what the dog is doing and how serious it is. But the reality is all of the stuff that dog is doing, we see dogs over and over and over and over and over again that come in just like that. And this stuff is like typically like it's the easy. This is the tomfoolery, jackassery, knuckleheadedry stuff that's really easy to fix. I mean, Bruno, the Roddy who came in, was doing a lot of the same stuff. And you guys have seen him prancing around. He's going home tomorrow or the next day, and he's awesome. And all we did was give him like lots of structure, lots of rules, fully e-collar trained, jump up, mouth, do anything like that, knock it off, boom, he's done. He's such a more sweet, kind, respectful dog just because of all that stuff we created. So once again, that's the good news. The good news is if you were to go with, if you could find yourself a balanced trainer that you felt really good about.
I wonder where you are.
Yeah, I don't know what area you're in.
I would just love to get my hands on this dog.
Yeah, me too.
Like, not in the weird way, like, just like How dare you? You guys are trying. Oh, you're in Kentucky.
Oh yeah.
Go see Curtis.
Yeah, we can recommend you somebody that could really help you out
Yeah,
with this.
yeah.
Curtis would be perfect for that dog. So okay. So first thing, don't struggle with the dog on your own. If your major conflict is that your husband is saying the dog's not so bad,
Dog's bad.
and you guys are having a conflict about like what do we do with this, but you're contemplating, excuse me, getting rid of the dog, then we need to have a sit down between the two of you about like what's the reality here, and that you're nervous and worried and concerned about your baby. Your husband should be as well. After 3 vet visits for, by consuming stuff and things like that, it should be fairly clear, fairly obvious that we've got a problem here.
I'm sure your husband, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and just say he probably just doesn't want to get rid of the dog, or there's concern.
Yeah,
with
but guys, it's an interesting thing. A lot of us guys can be really tolerant of like monkey business. It's a guy thing, and like the tomfoolery and the monkey business and like a little bit of like attitude. A lot of guys can be like, yeah, it's being a dog, and dig that, and so that's something also to be mindful of. But I just want to say that first thing I would do is I would reach out to Curtis at the Calm Canine, he's in Tennessee, right? But like on the border.
Yeah, yeah.
And he helps gazillions of family dogs that have the exact same situation, and in a couple weeks he could have you sorted out and living a completely different life with that dog. So that's my first recommendation. And basically my next line said I'd recommend help from an awesome balance trainer, so we stumbled onto that already. If you're determined to do it alone, then I'd order an Educator Mini from Amazon. That's an eCollar Technologies Educator Mini, and I would watch our eCollar videos, which are recall, sit down, place. You've heard me say it over and over as you watch this whole show, and that's the basic stuff. Like that's the stuff where you start to like
9.
That's the stuff where you start to create like a different mindset, accountability, respect, deferential behavior, dog listening, dog tuned in, dog focused. And then a lot of the monkey business and the BS of like being pushy goes away on its own. A lot of it you don't even have to address. Now, if we do have jumping, nipping, counter surfing or anything, we can address all those after the fact. But most of it is gone once a dog realizes, holy mackerel, it's a new day, and my folks can actually issue rules, structure, and accountability to me. So that's where I would go with that. If you're determined, or if like financially you guys can't hire somebody, if you guys can't hire somebody, then you have to do it on your own. Then if you're determined to keep the dog, you and your husband come to an agreement. We're going to go after this as a team. We're going to knock it out. Get the mini educator. Do the recall video first. Then start doing play, sit down, do all that stuff. And then you correct this dog for anything that doesn't look nice, anything that's unpleasant.
The dog's on lock down. We're talking like
no doggy like wandering around, and like your husband could be like, but he looks like a robot. Exactly.
Good.
He's going to be a dead robot. He should look like a robot for right now, in a rebooting, reprogramming sense. It's not forever. All the dogs that come in here, they do 2 hardcore weeks, and then they go home and they do another hardcore month with their owners to reboot the dog. That's what your dog needs, a complete mindset shift and mindset change about how he lives and feels and interacts in your home. So that's what I would go after.
Hopefully there's no affection. There's no affection.
Yeah, great point.
I mean, this is like,
access.
Yeah, no access to couches, beds,
furniture,
like unearned pets. Everything he
personal
gets right now
space
is unearned because he's not earning anything. So I hope you're watching this, and I hope you have your husband watching this as well. Is that this is easy stuff to fix, relatively easy, but also this stuff can escalate in a big way, guys. We're not talking like, oh, it's just going to be like mild. You're talking about a 1.5-year-old dog. This is just the start. We're talking like you've got another 2 to 3 years of this kind of bratty, like empowered adolescent area. So you've got a dog that could be sending you to the hospital not him going to the vet.
Yeah, if it happens enough to where you grab something, you want something from him, and he realizes he can actually correct you, that escalates and escalates to the point where he'll start to correct you firmly for going after anything he deems that's his or that you are not privileged enough to grab.
And you got a baby, which, you know, that's the one sure way to get this dog killed is to give him all that unearned stuff, not give him any structure, make excuses for him, and then have him bite your kid.
Yep.
So then your kid's got a face scar for the rest of his life, and the dog's put down. So
and you guys have got guilt for the rest of your life.
Oh my gosh, it's horrible. So it's so cool that we can cut this off at the pass. So you've got all the stuff that we're talking about, all the e-collar training. If you get a trainer in there to do some work, you could seriously, all of this could be changed. But it doesn't just change like that. You guys both have to be on board. Like if you called me as a client, I would be talking to you, and then I'd make sure that both of you were down to make the changes in the life where this dog is, especially for the first couple months of training, on lockdown, in place, in the crate, out for some structured play or out on a structured walk, but no wandering. It doesn't have bones. It doesn't get treats. It doesn't get toys. It doesn't get pets.
Tough
none
love.
of that stuff.
Tough love.
Yeah, this dog is I mean, you could kill this dog by giving it that stuff. So
right? And why is the tough love? Because it's a means to an end.
Yeah.
The tough love is what reboots the dog and gets the dog to think, feel, and act differently in your environment.
Yeah.
And we don't do it to be tough. We don't do it to be hard. We do it
save the dog's life.
because we see over and over and over again
Yeah.
dogs with all the stuff you just listed come into this humble abode, and we start working through all of the stuff with very simple approaches, and they go home and they don't have the problems.
And the family lives happily. But those are families that have really said, like, you know what, we're going to do this.
Yeah, we're going to do the work.
And if you don't want to do the work, this dog needs to not be in your household.
Yeah, then you got to rehome the dog. And
which is impossible to rehome a dog with that kind of rap sheet. So...
unless you got a really adventurous couple.
Yeah, or someone who's like, you know what, I want a goldendoodle and I can take care of this, and, you know... But I think it's so cool that you've reached out and that we don't have a lost cause here, but we definitely have something that's going to take a little work, and it sounds like, you know, you're up for the challenge, but everyone needs to be, husband included.
It doesn't get any better than, like, serious stuff that has a completely viable answer to be completely resolved. Like like Laura said, I wish you could send that dog to us.
Oh, I wish
because
so much you lived
I would
here.
love. Here's what we'd love. You wanna like shoot some really nasty video of your dog being a total jackass, and then talk to us about sending that dog out here. We can talk about a possibility of
or I could go out there. If you shoot great video, maybe we could figure out a way on Q&A Saturday.
Yeah.
Like as a maybe we do this once a year or something. I'll go out there for a few days and we'll have a little Laura time.
Yeah, little Auntie Laura time.
Auntie Laura comes to town.
And has a word with Mr. Goldendoodle.
Actually, Kentucky. Oh my gosh, this is so weird. I actually was just talking to Jean Frederick, who's in Louisville.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I wish, because I want to go visit her. I was like, I wish I could go out there. I wish I had a job to go out there and do. So you guys get us great footage.
Man, if you guys need help, honestly, if you need help, you get great footage, because that's something that we can use to like help tell our story and create hope for other people. Then maybe something could go on. Maybe go out, do a 1 week intensive, turn that dog around, and
we'll figure it out. So just let us know.
And if you're not interested, then it's up to you guys to do all the work on your own and keep yourself safe and your baby. All right?
And if you do have those videos, or if you do want to talk about that, thegooddog.la@gmail.com.
That's it.
Okay?
Thank you.
Good luck.
All right.
Okay.
So now we got Carmela.
Carmela. This is question number, 7? Carmela says, how do you feel about dogs chasing lasers? I didn't really think anything of it when my dog would run after one for a few minutes out of the day. Someone said they aren't good for them since it activates their prey instinct. I think my dog enjoys chasing after it. Just want to know your thoughts.
Well, Carmela, this looks like a job for Laura's secret surprise question. I wish we had like some
confetti.
Yeah, confetti to fall and. It's an easy one.
Easy one.
Easy peasy.
So Carmela, we aren't big fans of laser pointers and laser, silliness, because it can get dogs obsessed with the laser. This isn't a question that I really know that much about, just kind of what we know about.
I got your back.
Okay. So, yeah, just in a general sense, we're not big fans because it gets the dog obsessed. You get a dog that's like constantly staring at a spot. They can get superstitious about that stuff. They can get it where they literally can't turn off from that, because dogs don't have that same sort of thing where you're like, oh, off switch. Okay, now let's go to work.
And they put the laser away.
Yeah, it's gone. They're just like, what the heck is this?
And they continue to search for it.
Yeah, they'll just continue, and it's just it's not fun. Imagine you always being in a state of searching for something that's like, something on the ground or something like obsessive that no one told you how to turn it off. So, I think, the prey drive thing, it probably maybe does that, but that's not something that can be activated or not. It's just there or it isn't. I would say it's more about just the dog's well-being and how that's kind of a bummer for a dog to live in a constant state of like obsession. Unless the dog's totally like chases the laser and then you put it away and the dog's like, oh, whatever,
It's a
really
rarity.
Rare. Yeah.
We get plenty of dogs that come in here that have done laser stuff, and they're highly neurotic, they're highly anxious, they've got tons of OCD, and what often happens is it generalizes to where any light, shadows, reflections start to stimulate the dog to where they're always looking for it, right? They just stay locked in that thing. And so we've seen a lot of dogs be messed up, and it's not an easy one to unmess up, right? So, yeah, it's an easy thing like to not have to do any work and like shine it around and your dog goes chasing it. Throw a ball, play tug, do something like that that's physical that the dog can actually see and perceive and make sense of. But the laser pointer, me and a million other trainers just see all the time dogs being undone by that, and it turns them into neurotic OCD, obsessive compulsive messes. So, like Laura said, if you've got the one magic dog, that's great, but you got to take that chance and go like, I hope it doesn't mess my dog up. Yeah. I certainly wouldn't do it.
Anxiety then creates behavior problems. Yeah. That's what we see. So if the dog's constantly in a state of anxiety because of this thing that it sees every once in a while, then that can cause other stuff, reactivity, all this. So
I certainly wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
No way, brother.
No thanks.
Okay.
Okay, thanks. Question number 8, this is from San Ni. San says, hey, thanks a lot for considering these questions from us. We have about a 3-year-old pit mix rescue we've had for a year and a half. When we first had her, we thought she was 100% dog aggressive. We couldn't walk past another dog without lunging, barking, etc. She's on an e-collar now, which we do through trainers, and she's improved tremendously. She's more friendly with dogs, and she's always been a people lover. Now she just wants to play. We're trying to pass the CGC next week. Here comes the big however, though. She still has an issue with any dog barking in her face, especially smaller ones. We still went to dog parks. We know she's submissive to like-size or larger dogs, but a bully to the smaller ones. And if someone barks in her face, it's like a switch is flipped and she goes into insanity mode. She's not very big, but she's hurt herself getting into confrontations that could obviously do a lot more damage. We've been lucky so far. At training, she does well now with the other dogs from the group around us, and I have the e-collar for correction. Mostly, she just wants to play with everyone. However, she also has a ton of energy, which can be overwhelming for other dogs. We have limited dog interaction. We also have very noisy, horrible behaving dogs that live behind and in front of us, and they always bark excessively. Anyway, so it's so confusing. I'm just curious what your take on this would be. She listens well, she's great, but doesn't know what to do with that last bit of aggression towards dogs barking in her face.
All right, San. So it sounds like your dog's been kind of conditioned to be, your dog was at the dog park, it sounds like, prior. A lot of times what happens at the dog park is a lot of dogs act like jackasses and bullies and are pushy, and a lot of dogs get conditioned to be like, I'm not so fond of that and I don't feel safe, and so I'm going to advocate for myself. Also sounds like you've got a bunch of nasty small little dogs in your neighborhood barking behind fences, which are also conditioning your dog to not be take kindly to those little dogs, right? And a lot of the little ones, they just, I mean, we all know the story. A lot of the little dogs don't get discipline and structure and rules or consequences for their behavior because they're small and everybody thinks it's cute. So they're just kind of allowed to be really nasty little Napoleons. And so a lot of dogs don't get that, and they're not like, oh, it's just a little small dog that gets to do what he wants to do. No, they're like, wow, this dog's really like tense and bugging me and bothering me. And I think there's also a thing about dogs being pretty smart, pretty savvy about like picking their fights. Like not every dog. We've seen small dogs go after big dogs, of course, but I think a lot of dogs that are like less secure will be like, I'm going to let go, but you small little one, I can clean your clock. I definitely see that, and some people could take exception or disagree with that and say like they've got plenty of examples of the opposite, but I've definitely seen some of that stuff. So the reality is that the answer for your question is kind of the answer that I've already shared twice for other people, which is if you sent that dog to us, right, what do we got? We got a pit mix on e-collar who loves to play but will then selectively attack, right? So if that dog was sent here, we would do all of the basic structure stuff as dogs on e-collar, and then we would muzzle condition the dog, just like I said earlier, put a long line on the dog, put the dog around our stable pack, and then slowly start to try and work on triggering your dog's behavior to see what's actually causing it, and then address and correct your dog and let him know, like, no more attack stuff. And if we found that, okay, it's only working with, your dog's doing great with all the big dogs and the calm dogs, but we need like something really nutty, then we call in like our special forces. We'll call in like Haas, who's like Brittany's like super high energy and anxious min pin, and he can come in and he can provoke a lot of dogs that have that small dog issue stuff and get those dogs to go after him, and then we correct it. I mean, we try and keep this stuff really simple, guys, right? It's like behavior, unsavory behavior towards other dogs like can be stopped, but you have to be able to address it and create a future inhibition, a consequence that's valuable enough for the dog to say, I don't like the cut of your jib, but you know what? I'm gonna let this one go. And so the only way you can do that is by safely creating the environment and setting it up. That's why if you can work with a professional, it's so much easier. If you're with a professional who knows.
Yeah.
What?
Son is working with a professional.
Yeah, but I mean, if they're working with a professional and knows how to do this specific stuff, right? So there's a difference between like obedience and e-collar work and things like that, and then more serious behavior mod, which is like setting things up, muzzle conditioning a dog. Don't just throw it on, but muzzle conditioning a dog to where the dog feels comfortable. Long line on the dog, e-collar on the dog, put the dog around a safe group of dogs, and then see if you can stimulate some interactions, see where your dog gets tense, correct your dog for that, and then start to cultivate better behavior, right? It's not easy. The whole thing is that this is one of those things that are like the hardest questions in the world, like how do we get to that place?
Yeah, I think also there's the thing of like, no little dog should be barking in your dog's face. It's not cool. Like that's not, I wouldn't allow that. My dog went crazy at that, I would be like, yeah, that's not okay. So you've got a situation, I think Tara Isaacson answered you on here too, is that you've got, the dog park situation's really tough for dogs.
But I think they said they don't do it anymore.
Okay.
I think they said they're done with the dog park thing. That's why I was...
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. No. But I mean, like, you bring up a good point, as always, which is like just preventive medicine, right? So if, it comes down to this thing of expectations and desires that we have of putting our dogs in situations that we feel are like rewarding, fun, exciting, all that stuff. But a lot of times, a lot of dogs aren't prepared or aren't qualified or aren't ready to be in those situations with a multitude of dogs, right? So when we have dogs go and interact, we make sure that the dogs they're interacting with are really safe, confident, stable dogs to where the other dog gets a really good experience out of it. Now, you bring your dog that you're trying to get into a good space, into an environment where there's going to be bratty, pushy, snotty dogs, there's a real good chance that your dog's going to have a problem. So we're not huge on like every dog's got to have massive social life.
I guess that's what I meant with the dog park thing. I think I just reread that you're not doing it.
Yeah.
I think that probably could have had some impact on how she acts now.
Absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely.
so now you're limiting the access and all that. And the CGC is one thing. I think, you know, you advocating for her is like the biggest thing, and it sounds like that's what you're doing. It doesn't sound like that's like the last bit of aggression. I think you're worried that that's just aggression that can never be fixed. I think it's just you're doing a really good job of advocating for her, don't you think? You know?
You're talking to me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, once again, I don't know what the social life looks like. I don't know what their expectations. I don't know what they're trying to create as far as like dog interaction.
Yeah.
But if I've got a dog that's like not 100% safe around other dogs, I'm going to be so selective about who he plays with. He's only going to play with best friends that I know he does really well with. I'm not going to put other dogs in harm's way. I'm not going to put him in harm's way.
Yeah, really respectful dogs, you know. She
Yeah.
may be like acting out because she's like, whoa, I'm not so sure about you.
Yeah.
So you need to kind of honor that if you're getting so much better stuff. You know, just honoring what she's saying, like, oh, I'm not so
What she's
comfortable with this
capable
one.
of.
Yeah.
So what I'm suggesting initially is more of like, if you're asking specific questions about how do I go deeper into trying to resolve this and have more flexibility with my dog, that's what I suggested is the program and the protocols that we'll go through with that. That said, like Laura brought up, you really, really need to advocate for your dog and be careful and be cautious about where you put him. My dogs are great, but I'm still like, I'm very careful about who they get to meet and how they get to meet. I don't meet dogs on leash, and I don't take them to the dog park or anything like that. And when we're off leash at the actual park out here, like I avoid all the other knucklehead dogs out there because I don't trust them, and I want my dogs to feel safe, and I don't want them to feel like they have to defend themselves. Now, but you've also mentioned that it sounds like your dog's got some arousal issues, like he gets aroused and he can't control himself and he starts to make bad choices. I don't know if you remember that in there, but I'm pretty sure there was some stuff about your dog gets playful and then he starts to get too much, and then some of the dogs can have a problem with it. So that's another real easy moment to use the e-collar to just give a quick tap and just like bring the dog down. We'll do that all the time out here when we're working with dogs that have a route. They can't manage themselves so well. They get so excited and then their impulse control goes out the window. Other dogs are like, hey, what's wrong with you? And then you can get a fight, you can get whatever, the other dog looks at your dog funny, and then it's on. So like your job is to advocate, keep safe dogs around your dog, don't put him in a situation he's going to lose, and then also use the e-collar when he's around other dogs. If you see anything you don't like, to say, hey, calm down, you know, relax. If you see the energy getting too high, take it down. But if you want to start working, like if there's specific dogs that you feel like you want to work with, then that's totally up to you, but that's a way more complex endeavor, which is like, you know, the muzzle conditioning and then long line and e-collar like corrections for trying to attack another dog. That's more like kind of, it's complicated stuff, right?
Definitely.
I don't recommend that lightly for, you know, even though we've talked about it. I share that mainly to share protocols, but boy, that's not easy or safe stuff for a lot of people. So is that cool? I mean, like, I want to make sure I don't put anybody in harm's way. So if you feel like there's
it's
anything
perfect.
that,
Yeah,
like,
it's
no,
perfect.
we good?
I just want to make sure that we're advocating for the dog too, because you guys are doing great work.
Yeah.
You know, I think sometimes those tests put a lot of pressure on people, like, oh, I gotta make it. But
Yeah, the CGC guys, like, not to dog the CGC, and no pun intended, but like the CGC is really like, it's like if it's a goal you want to achieve just for fun, that's great, but it's not that big of a deal.
yeah, it's
and
like you guys have come so far. It's incredible.
personally, I wouldn't give a crap about a CGC. All I'd care about is like, can
my
my
dog
dog be awesome and can I enjoy being around him?
My
That
dog
would
be
be my
happy.
that'd be
Yeah.
my CGC.
Yep.
So once again, if you're totally into it, I totally get it, but I wouldn't you know, go through that whole process. So just personally, my own thing. So
Cool.
all right.
Thanks.
Whew, long question, long answer.
All right, we've got Question number 9. This is from Lisa,
Lisa,
218.
we had her maybe last week or the week before.
She's on Instagram.
Yep.
She says, my anxious leash reactive shepherd mix has been on e-collar and prong since January. He's calm inside the house with solid foundation work. He has a great heel 95% of the time with occasional barking outbursts at dogs on walks.
That's such a weird one.
Though hardly any more pulling or lunging. Question. When I must stop to speak briefly with someone, I place him in a sit or down. He stays but always immediately starts barking until we get moving again. Corrections at a wide range of levels or with quick pet convincer blast are ineffective, and I usually have to cut the conversation off with the person and start walking.
Yeah.
I'm aware that much higher correction might stop the shenanigans, but this seems impossible to attempt with a neighbor or acquaintance standing right there watching me so ineffectively train my dog.
Right.
Thanks for any advice. We've made huge progress with this very freaked out dog, but this one persistent problem drives me crazy. P.S. Is this a scenario where a dominant dog collar would be helpful? I'm willing to consider it, but do rely on the security a prong gives for physical control of a 60-pound dog. Yeah.
Lisa, 218. It's awesome how far you've come. You've done like super awesome work with this dog, and big congrats on like staying the course with a tough dog. So that's first and foremost really cool. Really proud of you. Sounds like you're down to like just like your last few remaining, you know, like little quirks, which is that's just so cool when you get to that point of like, man, we just got to just get these little tweaks. So it sounds like you know what the answer is, right? It sounds like you kind of answered your own question in some ways, which is that I think your sneaking suspicion is that a higher consequence is really what your dog needs to knock the monkey business off. But you've got that whole social pressure thing of like being around somebody and like, oh, I'm going to correct my dog really high and he's going to go, Bard, and then you look like a bad person. So that's a challenging one. What you could do is you could set something up with a couple friends and, you know, find, I mean, this sounds like really like covert and dastardly, but you could find a spot where it's not super busy and you could have a friend meet you, walk down the street, and you can engage in a conversation, put your dog in a down, and then if your dog does any monkey business or does his usual stuff, then you correct him really high. And then you walk down the street and you've got another friend waiting and you do the same thing, right? So that's one method if you want to set them up. I know it's not easy. Heavy vocalizations for dogs are things that none of us enjoy, but it sounds like I think if me and you were sitting around problem solving with this dog, I think we'd both be coming up with the same answer, which is like, you've done some really great work and this dog is like sitting there in a down state barking while you're talking. That's I want to say jackassery again. That's really not cool stuff. And like I said, I think your suspicion is that you need to go with a higher level correction. So once again, like I said, you can set this up with friends. But I too, when I was reading your question, was like, okay, because of like the whole social pressure thing, the dominant dog collar could be a really good move for you because it just takes the vocalization away, right? And you can do it really subtle, and it's not to be like covert and sneaky, but it's like you can do it because a lot of people aren't going to understand. A lot of people are going to be like, what are you doing to your dog? And this is, you know, this is awkward or weird. So what we tend to do with dogs like this, you can have them on the prong, and you can use the dominant dog collar. So you don't lose any of your control with the prong, but you add the ability to use the dominant dog collar. And I don't know if you've seen any of our videos. You can go to my Facebook page and you can go to my Facebook page and click on videos, and you can kind of search around. There's a video where I show this exact setup, but I think if you look at the videos with Gus, any of the videos where I'm on a walk with Gus, I think you get to see that exact setup, which is e-collar on, leash and prong on with a regular like 4 or 6 foot leash, and then a traffic leash connected to a dominant dog collar, right? And the dominant dog collars are the very tip top. And then what happens is you fold your 4 foot leash up and you get it into the right space where it's nice and short but not tight. And then you take your traffic lead and you just string it over a couple of your fingers, right? And so there's no tension between the traffic lead and the dominant dog collar. But what happens is you're walking along, you see a friend, put your dog in a sit or in a down, he starts to vocalize or amp up. All you do is just like, I mean, you can be very nonchalant about it. You just take the dominant dog collar. You can like, you know, you can move the leash and prong out of your hand, or lay it on the dog, whatever you, I mean, you'll figure it out. But basically the upshot is that you've got both these tools in your hand, and then you just put the pressure with the dominant dog collar up, and you just hold. And you're not trying to put your dog to sleep, but you're just adding enough pressure. You might even take the front paws just a little bit off the ground to where the dog's like, uh-oh. And that should really like zip this up and also de-escalate and calm the dog down. And I would do that over and over again every time that your dog starts to bark, carry on, and be a knucklehead like that. And what should happen is that it should condition your dog that that behavior is not a fun behavior. It's not a good release. It's not joyful. It's uncomfortable. And my owner's got my number, and that's what I would do. So you can go through my videos if you need to see what that looks like. But if you can just envision it, traffic leashes are those really short little leashes. They're just handles with the little like leash clip. And they're usually like, I don't know, what would you say, like that long,
yeah,
something
like
that.
Yep.
Yeah. And you got your regular leash and dominant dog collar on. Boom, you're all set up. Hold your leash, dominant dog collar, traffic leash in your hand. You're walking, sit, everything's good, rah, 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 rah. Dominant dog collar up, nice and calmly. You can just keep your conversation going. And they're saying like, what's going on? Oh, my dog's just a little uncomfortable around people. So when I add this pressure to him, it helps him relax. And they're like, oh, wow, that's really interesting, fantastic. And then you can excuse yourself and keep walking. And that is what we do for vocal reactive dogs that tend to get goosed by other tools. So I think that's a good approach for you. And I think you're right on the money that it's consequence time. Yeah. But what consequences are you going to be able to utilize that's going to work for you and your lifestyle? Cool?
Yep.
Cool.
Cool. Okay, guys, question number 10. This is from Catherine Freeman.
Yes.
Catherine says, I have a friend who has 2 Boston Terriers. One is 10, the other 12. They're not well socialized and reactive to dogs. They've lived in a suburb with a yard, but are now downsizing to a city apartment where they'll have to walk daily with other dogs in close proximity. Is it too late in their lives to teach them not to be reactive? Would you recommend e-collars for them? Basically, can you teach your old dog new tricks?
So yeah, it's never too late. We've had dogs, you know, super, you know, I don't want to say old, but more senior dogs come in that have absolutely had bad behaviors for a long time and are in a great space. So there's no, all that like old dog new tricks monkey business is just that. It's monkey business. So what I'd say is, I don't know what tools are on right now, but I'd start with just leash and prong, right? Just start easy. Have your friends get 2 small, they're Boston Terriers, have them get 2 small Herm Springer prong collars. Watch our videos.
Especially 10 and 12. They don't, like, they may just be like one little prong collar correction
They might
away.
be. Boston's can be a little tough.
Yeah.
You know, they're like from Boston. We're like kind of tough and scrappy. But so here's what I do. Herm Springer, small prong collars. I'd go to our website, www.thegooddog.net. Go to our videos and then click on free do-it-yourself videos. There's one and part 1 and part 2 prong collar videos that will tell you how to size the actual prong collar for your dog, where it goes, and how to take the links out and all that stuff. That's the first order of business. Then I would watch our prong collar video. We have several on there that are really good. You can watch, there's one called The Walk, Learn to Train the Good Dog Way, The Walk, which is a real simple, easy one to follow, but if it's like all in the nuance, the magic's all in the nuance and juice in there. We've got another one with a dog, I can't remember her name, where I do like 180s with. That's a really,
that little one.
The black and white, I think. That's a really great video. Just look through it, right? And the thing is, like, if you can start with leash and prong and it works like gangbusters, then cool, save some money. It's an easier thing. You can train it more quickly. Boom, go with that. Now, that said, if these guys are really off the chain, or really off the, is it off the chain or off the hook?
Off the hook and off the chain.
If they're both off the chain and off the hook, which sounds really upsetting and concerning, if that's really going on, and get out and they're doing really good work with leash and prong, and it's just you know, S show. If it's just bad news bears, where it's like these dogs are just explosive and reactive and really bad news, then I would say, yeah, it's time to go to the e-collar. But you can keep the prongs. So the cool news is the prongs don't go to waste. We use prong collars along with e-collars as we teach e-collar heel. So you start off with leash and prong, boom, boom, boom. Oh, it looks rock and roll. It's great. We don't need any more help. Cool, that's great. Or we get out, they're still maniacs. They're a little better, but they're still maniacs, and we can't tolerate this. Every time a dog gets close, they're losing their marbles. Cool. Hold on to the leash and prong. Order a couple educator minis. You can actually get a one remote that controls 2 collars, and then you can start training your dog's e-collar heel, even if you don't teach anything else. We've got a great video called, is it Learn to Train the Good Dog Way for the Heel?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Learn to Train the Good Dog Way heel with FUSA the GSD, right? Or GSD the FUSA or something like that.
GSD,
FUSA the GSD. And that walks you step by step through how we train e-collar heel. And if you watch that carefully several times, you'll get a real feel for how that works. And the e-collar tends to de-escalate dogs much better than just about any other tool out there, especially for reactivity, pulling, and nuttiness and things like that. So that's where I'd start. Leash and prong doesn't work. Go to e-collar. Continue to use the prong along with the e-collar to where you can teach the dog the position for heel. And then once the dog knows the position for heel, you can start correcting for untoward glances or escalation or any of that stuff. Watch a bunch of our videos on like dog reactivity, and we like walk you really through the steps of like correcting early, correcting firmly, but that's all predicated on you getting the right tools on the dog and doing that homework, or your friend doing it. So, whew!
2-hour show.
Is it? Is this our longest ever?
I don't know.
It might be more jam-packed with goodness than any of the others.
It's possible.
So,
We had a lot of crazy questions.
yeah, man, they're like putting me through the ringer. Okay, so before we wrap, I don't think we talked about, have we talked about this book yet?
No, I don't think
No,
so.
we talked about some other ones,
Probably
right?
talked about it, but maybe you haven't shown it and talked how impactful it has
Okay,
been on you.
so it's a book here called The Obstacle's the Way. Hopefully I haven't already shown it. It's by Ryan Holiday,
You know,
who's...
it feels so weird. It feels so familiar.
Does it?
Maybe you have shown it. It's funny.
Well, I was just kind of rereading it and going through it, so maybe it's an appropriate time for me to bring it back if I haven't already.
Yep.
And I'm sure there's a lot of other viewers that haven't seen it.
That's
So,
true.
anyways, Ryan Holiday, I think he's 12 years old, and this is his second or third book. He's actually one of the big marketing guys for like American Apparel and all sorts of other big stuff. But basically, this is This is a book on the philosophy of Stoicism, and you know, basically the title says the whole thing. The obstacle is the way, the whole perception, the whole way you look at problems occurring in your life and how you view them, whether they empower you or disempower you, whether they lift you up or take you down, whether they make you a victor or a victim. All has to do with perspective, how you look at them, the story you tell yourself about what's going on with the problems or challenges that you have. And this book it's short but sweet and really awesome. So if anybody's looking to learn a little bit more about Stoicism, which sounds like complicated and crazy and all that stuff, but it's really simple, profound, awesome stuff. And there's a lot of similarities between this and like Zen Buddhism. I highly recommend it. Did a lot for me as far as like getting my mindset even to a nicer gear. And if you're struggling with anything, maybe it can help you out as well. So, Obstacles the Way, Ryan Holiday, highly recommended. I know you guys asked for some personal development books and things like that, and we're always studying. Anything that you're like on your audio that you're digging right now?
Not really. I mean, I'm doing that pitch anything. That's not really part of.
But I mean, it's like it's developing.
Yeah.
It's
I guess
developing.
It's not.
Is it not your style?
It's not. I don't know. It's got a difference.
It's got a different thing, right?
Yeah.
But there's some principles in there that I find to
Definitely.
be profoundly valuable. So, is he reading the audio?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's an edgy dude.
He's really cool. He's really
Really?
sweet. Yeah, he's like.
Because he's edgy on camera.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh,
like on
okay.
camera, a lot of people are like, "Whoa, take it
Oh,
easy."
Okay, I can see that.
But
Yeah.
he's good in the
Yeah,
audio.
you know, he's light and he's sweet. I think it's hard for me. Tactics are hard for me.
Yeah. No, I hear you. I think that there's some psychological understandings about just the way the brain makeup
which is
works
really cool.
that I think is
Yeah.
pretty profound
Yeah.
about like him talking about the neocortex versus the crocodile
Yeah.
brain and like trying to share information and thinking that it's going here, but it's
Yeah.
really going through here. The crocodile
Right.
brain first is the filter.
And the funny thing is, like, he's a genius. Like, I am so not someone who can be like, well, this is how I'm no selling, marketing genius. It's just something that's taken time, but I really actually enjoy the book. I really do.
Yeah,
It's just not my,
yeah.
not my
It
style.
there's just some things in there that I found to be really, really valuable.
Pitch anything. Orin cloth is the
Yeah, and it's not just about pitching big
pitching,
deals
no,
or anything
not
like
at
that.
all.
It's a lot about like human psychology and
Yeah.
also the physiology of the brain and how it
Yeah.
works and how it's developed over time. So another cool book, but she's listening to it against her own better judgment.
No.
It's not yours. Perfect style.
Yeah, but I'm in my first fifth of it, so we'll see how it goes.
Best thing I've got going, elliptical machine every morning. That 2-hour, 20-minute Jim Rohn thing I stumbled onto.
yeah,
Like
right.
we've listened to oodles of Jim
Yeah.
Rohn, but that one is like he's on fire.
Yeah,
He's
I haven't seen it
you
yet.
haven't checked it out
No.
yet? Man, he's on fire. He's funny. He's frisky, and he's saying some things that I've never heard him say before. It's 81, so the hairstyles are challenging. The lighting is challenging, but highly recommended. Anybody? He's so quiet. Anybody needs or wants that link, just let us know in the comment section, and I'll hook you up with the.
Here.
We've got a very badly behaved dog here.
Joe, here. I'm trying to get him on camera. Seats.
Ah!
Seats.
Cujo, seats.
It's just challenged in this small space.
You all right, bud? You all right? This big lug. This big lug.
Just wanted you guys to see him. This is probably the biggest thing going on in my life right now is trying to adjust to life with two giant dogs.
Have you pitched anything to him?
And also, I'm going to be taking him on a trip.
Oh, yeah.
He's a registered service dog for me.
Laura's
And-
heading to New Orleans.
Yep.
And
Seats.
and real quick, if anybody is looking, right, so there's a whole bunch of stuff going on. I know this,
Right.
we're turning this into like the first 3-hour show,
Yes.
but Laura's going to New Orleans what date?
The 1st, and I'm coming back
Of
September.
1st of September.
Yep.
And
So
you're
I'll
back.
be there for 5 days-ish. So if anyone is down there and wants a little training stuff, I'm
Yep.
there. I think we had a bunch of clients that were waiting for you, and we put out the
Yep.
word to them, but I don't think anyone's taking
Well, I
the
think
bait.
we're still kind of like putting it all together.
Yeah.
So if anybody needs any help, if any of our pre-existing clients down there, need help and need a tune-up, Laura's coming in. She's awesome, and you guys already
Wow.
know all that. So hit me up. You can email us, or you can hit us in the comments. And see if you need her. I'll be down there leaving on the 15th and probably get down there on the 19th or 20th, and I'm there for 6 weeks, and I'll be doing board and trains, and I'll be doing one-on-ones, and I might be
Whole kit
riding
and
my
caboodle.
bike, and I might be like just having a
fun.
good time too. And then Britt's coming down to watch the doggies. So Brittany will be down there at one point when I have to go to, or we all have to go to Portland.
Yep.
And so you'll get the whole good dog team, except for Tony, except for Team Money, who's out here working. But Britt's gonna be doing one-on-ones as well. So if any of you guys need help with any of your dogs that are down NOLA way or even the surrounding areas, be sure to let us know. We've got some availability. A lot of things are booking up pretty quick, but we still got a few spots open. So that's it. I think we should get the heck out of here before
guys.
we put him in the grave. Ready?
Big birthday for me in 2 days, too.
Oh,
Yay. Ah,
31?
31.
31.
Big 31.
Yeah, it's about time you kicked into the 30s and jumped into them, right? Nah, this is going to be the best year ever. Guys, mark my words, episode 46, best year ever for this lady. I see lots of good stuff on the horizon.
I will take it.
That's why I'm trying to really hang out a lot with her and like put in a good word so I can like ride her coattails. Anyways,
How about that?
all right.
Guys. Thank you.
See you guys soon.
See ya.
Bye. Kaplow. Kaplow.
Get loud. Plots. it.